Hello Year 9 and welcome to your next geography lesson. I'd like to have a look at this slide on the board. It is a retrieval practice grid with 9 questions getting you thinking back to prior lessons and in fact in the blue areas prior topics. I'd like you to have every question answered. I want you to give all of them a go, even if it is a complete guess. Hopefully it isn't a complete guess. Hopefully there is an element of an educated guess at least, but you should know all this stuff. If you don't worry, but I want you to give it a go. There's no point in just sitting staring at these blankly, not writing anything. Give them a go, and that will make the process a lot more productive for you. And on the next slide, we'll go through some answers. So pause the video now and get answering. Okay, so here's your answers. So just have a look through. You can flick back to the previous slide and backwards and forwards to check the questions as well. Please make sure you correct anything you've got wrong. The act of doing that will hopefully help you to remember them in the future. Pause the video now. Okay, fantastic. So this unit we've been working on is all about development and the idea that there is a development gap. There is uneven development. Not every country in the world is the same level of development. So today is all about a series of causes: physical, natural, economic, to do with money, and historical, to do with things that have happened in the past. Could you please copy the title? Don't forget the date. Make sure it's all underlined and your presentation is excellent. You're going to need the equipment on the side there. The worksheet and the textbook scan are things that are found on class charts. If you can print the worksheet off, then great. If not, don't worry about it. We're going to sort that out later on. So a couple of minutes to get all that sorted. Pause the video now. Okay, 3 key terms then. These are going to come up in the next slide on a worksheet. We're going to give you, if you could please jot down each of those key terms with their definitions, copy them, leave a line between each to make it nice and clear. You can highlight the key terms like I have in a different color. That's absolutely fine. You've got 5 minutes at most to do that. Pause the video now. Okay, so we are on to the main real bulk of the remainder of this lesson, which is this worksheet. Like I said before, if you can print it off, do so. That will save you some time. If not, don't worry. You can just write some of these points down. So the first thing you're going to do is task number 1, categorize each of those factors, highlighting them according to the key being the 3 colors of economic, physical, or historical. For example, most of the world's trade is between richer countries. So you can see that that is about trade. That should instantly signpost to you it's about money, and therefore it's economic. So whatever color you have chosen for economic, you're going to put shade and highlight that on the sheet. If you haven't got the sheet, you're going to copy that sentence out into your book and then highlight it in whichever color you've chosen, and so on and so on. Now, point number 2, pick one factor from each category and explain how it causes uneven development. And you'll see that each of those points has a so written at the end. The so is designed to get you going on that. So you don't need to do all of them. You need to do one factor from each of the 3 categories. So there should be 3 short paragraphs you're writing here. You're explaining how it causes uneven development. Most of the world's trade is between richer countries. So, well, I'm not going to give you the answer. I want you to have a little think about that. How is that going to lead to some countries being richer and having a higher quality of life, and others being poorer and having a lower quality of life? Have a little think. I'd like you to give those a go, and we've got some answers coming up which you can then use to expand yours if you need to. Okay, then on to task 3. Well, that one you don't have to do. It says they use the textbook to check your explanations. That's just a relic from the lesson. Ignore that. We're going to be checking it using the slide. But number 4, I'd love you to have a go at. I think you should have plenty of time for this. Which factor do you think would have the biggest impact on a country's development, and why? And with all these kind of questions, making decisions like this, there really is no right or wrong answer here. There is just a poorly explained answer. You've got to convince me that the factor you've chosen is really, really, really important. It's going to have a massive impact. So the way you write this needs to get that across. It needs to be not over the top, but it needs to have an element of convincing me that this is really, really vital and really getting to grips with why it's going to mean that some countries' development is very poor, or equally the opposite, some is very high. So plenty of work for you to do there. Like I said, you can print the sheet off or you can copy each of those points out. Hopefully that will make sense. I think it's time to get on with it. So pause the video now. The next slide will begin some answers, so don't skip to that yet. use this time to have a good think through all these points. Check that you understand all of those. These are our factors, so you need to make sure you understand these 12 points. Email your teacher if you're not sure on anything, and if you can't find it out, don't forget you've written some key terms down already, so those will help you to understand some of these, I hope. So pause the video now and get cracking. Okay, our first of 2 answer slides. So this just shows you the economic, physical, and historical categories. So double check that. Make any corrections you need to. If you've made any mistakes, do have a little think about why it is I've chosen those categories. Remember, economic means to do with money and jobs. Physical means to do with the natural world around us, and historical means things from the past. Okay, and finally, here are some examples of ways of explaining these. Now, don't forget, there's never just one way of explaining things. You may have written something that is also perfectly valid. If you want a teacher to check that, absolutely take a photo of it, type it out, email it to your teacher, and we can let you know what's good and what needs improving about it. But here are some of my answers. So I'm not going to read through all of them. I think you can do that yourself, and hopefully it all makes sense. Again, if it doesn't, get hold of your teacher. We can hopefully make it a bit clearer to you. So spend the time looking through all of these. I'd read all of them, even though you didn't write all of them. It'll help you to hopefully understand the points above. And the ones that you did do, I'd like you to spend this time adding, correcting, doing anything you need to. If you don't, great, well done. But if you do, if there's anything you could add, then do so now. And as soon as you finish that, that is the end of this lesson. So you've covered those 3 big categories. You've looked at the causes of uneven development around the world, and that is exactly what we're here to do today. We move on in the next few lessons to look at some of the consequences of this on certain countries, things like health, things to do with the economy as well, wealth, and education and things like that. Anyway, that's for another day. Take care, all the best, and I shall speak to you soon. Goodbye.